The Football Kickoff.
With Sky. Watch every single live Premier League game on Sky Sports, BT Sport and Premier Sports.
Okay, you are very welcome along. It is the final football kick-off of the Premier League season. It is game week 38. It has been a long, gruelling season, but it is all coming down to the final game, where obviously all that is left to be decided is which of those Premier League titans will be playing Championship football next season. Welcome along to Football Kick-Off with Sky. All the football you love in one place across Sky Sports, BT Sports and Premier Sports. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. We've got Keith Treacy and Colm Boohig with us for the final time this season. Gentlemen, it's been totes of moat.
Enjoyed it. Trying to keep it together here.
Manchester United last night, were they good? Were they 4-1 winners because they're 4-1 better than Chelsea at the minute, or what happened?
We were just saying there, myself and Keith, before we started recording, that Chelsea had loads of chances. It was end to end. I saw someone on Twitter say it was the lowest quality end to end game they've seen in a long time versus Man City Brighton the night before. United were definitely worthy of the win. I'd say it was probably about one goal fewer of the margin that they won. I'd say they were about 2 goals better off. But Chelsea had 3 gilt-edged chances in the first half after 3 minutes. Mudryk missed an absolute sitter. Havertz had a header which he should have at least hit the target with, put it wide. Conor Gallagher put it wide, and that's what Frank Lampard's been saying since he took over in the interim basis. They create loads of chances but they can't finish them. It was actually very true last night. United were more clinical.
Yeah, I thought that was spot on. Chelsea made an awful lot of chances, but there's the basics of the game. Like they play so well up to a certain point, and then they just fluff their lines. But to concede, you can't concede from a set piece. I know United are brilliant. Martial, Sancho, Anthony, Fernandes, they can rip you apart. Eriksen, but to concede from a set piece when you go away to Old Trafford, and they've been on the front foot. They were creating chances, and then when Casemiro hits the back of the net, you're thinking, here we go again. It's not solid enough. It's not strong enough. And you look at this, I actually thought Lewis Hall had a good game at left back for Chelsea, but in terms of defensively, is he somebody you want playing in your Premier League team in an elite club in England? Fofana, Chalobah, Azpilicueta, that's not an elite group of defenders there, is there? So look, there's problems at the top of the pitch, and there's big problems at the bottom, and obviously the manager issue is a big one as well.
They spent a load of money obviously on a lot of players who are they salvageable? Like if you look across right to what Ten Hag has done, loads of players who many didn't think would make it at Manchester United, he has turned into some value. Whether or not they're going to be players who actually win a league title with Erik Ten Hag, we'll wait and see. But certainly good coaching can improve these players. Yeah,
look, all of the players there are obviously of a decent standard, otherwise they wouldn't be at Chelsea. They wouldn't have went for the money they went for. But there's certain players, like whoever comes in that door, whoever it is, it's going to take them so long if they want to see them in a couple of pre-season games. If the 11 you watch, you've still got another set of 11 you've got to watch then, and then there'll be players that are saying, I don't want to play off the front, Gaffer, I want to play off the left, so you have to give him a chance. Whoever comes in the door, it's going to probably take 2-3 months before he gets his head straight and thinks, right, these are the lads I want, these are the lads I don't want. Plus there'll be targets that aren't at the club they want to bring in. So I think there's a decent overhaul. There's too many players, there's 30 players there, so you're going to have to go in, and you're probably going to have to axe probably 15 of them to free up a few bob for themselves. So I think but the likes of Mudryk, a player who you're thinking has all the talent in the world, it's just not clicking. And for players like Mudryk, I think it's just a bit of confidence. That's all he needs to hit the ground running. But there's one or two there that I think just aren't good enough, and Chelsea have rolled the dice, but it's just not happened.
Were you ever with a side that had a bloated squad like that, and the unhappiness levels of fellas who are left out? What's that like?
Well, see, I played the majority of my career in the Championship, so the squads were pretty, quite tight knitted. But I've been in dressing rooms where players who feel like they should be playing and they're knocking on the door, and believe me, players who aren't happy, they become a cancer in the dressing room. They really do quickly. So you would think that, can you imagine even if Lampard had won that game against Manchester United last night, he'd have woke up this morning and went into training, and there'd been 15 players outside the door knocking on it going, Gaffer, I want to play. So Lampard was knackered either way, win, lose or draw, there's people knocking on his door, the vast majority. So look, I think it's a huge job. But I seen an old clip of Frank Lampard saying that top 6 is the minimum on a bad day for Chelsea, a bad season for Chelsea. So, you know, it goes to show you where they're at this season.
Yeah, I'm interested in how long you think it'll take. We assume it's going to be Pochettino to fix everything. Like, is it an 18-month job, or can you actually come in, get your first team, just ignore like those players who are not going to be part of the squad, and build some kind of resilience within the team quite quickly? Because you've got a strong force of personality in a way that you would say Lampard doesn't, for example.
Yeah, look, you could come in, but
like Unai Emery at Villa is a good comparison in terms of how quickly you can start harvesting points, build a team. This is my first choice team, and it's going to play because there's no European football for them to worry about next season.
Yeah, look, I get that, but you know, I remember Thiago Silva coming out and said he had to extend the dressing room. So if it is Pochettino who comes in, the lads that you're going to ignore or you don't want in the club anymore, they're going to be sitting beside the lads who are starting every week, and you know, they're going to be in the ear going, I don't really like this fella, and all of a sudden
training with the kids thing, like.
Well, I actually had that at Preston once when Darren Ferguson came in. We had 20-25 players, and he cut about 10 of them and just put them into the reserve team dressing room. They weren't allowed to associate with the first team whatsoever. So could you come in and be as heavy handed as that and get people on side? I'm not so sure, but like I said, from the outside looking in, that looks like an absolutely massive job. But they're obviously a very, very talented bunch, but just that little bit of resilience and that little bit of know-how to keep the ball out of the net is just it's just not quite there.
The one other problem that you might have is that there's a good chance that you're going to sell players quickly in the summer if you come in and clear them out, who then go on to be absolutely brilliant because they haven't had the opportunity, they haven't been coached under the right manager, they've been played out of position. And this has happened to Chelsea before. They've had incredible world class players on their books who are now winning league titles with their rivals.
Yeah, and that's always the thing as a coach, as a manager. You don't want to see somebody going out the door that you potentially could go on and be a better player than you were at that club, because obviously the fingers will be pointed at the coaching staff, the club. So that does come into coaches' heads. But I think for where Chelsea are at now, they just need to cut ties and start worrying about themselves. I think, like I say, I think there's a massive overhaul there, and it's a huge job. I don't see. I think probably the guts of 2 years, 18 months to get that sorted. Yeah,
they've only scored 37 goals in 37 games, by far the fewest they've scored ever in the history of the Premier League. What renowned striker or proven goal scorer actually wants to go to Chelsea?
This with no European football, it's very, very difficult to attract anybody, and this is what I'm saying, that maybe they have the answers within the squad. Like, you look at Mudryk, Havertz, these guys aren't going to hit the back of the net 20 times a season. They're brilliant players, even João Felix, brilliant individuals, but can you rely on them to get you 20 goals a season? You can't. Looking around Europe, you're thinking, we spoke about Lukaku, you're going to throw the dice on him again.
Back, yeah.
But if it is Pochettino to come in, Pochettino wants this sexy football, putting the ball into Lukaku's feet. I don't think that's Lukaku's best attribute. He's a target man, he's somebody who can hold balls up. So I don't think the style of play is right for Lukaku to come in. But I'm scratching my head thinking around Europe, and I don't see any fit.
Well, maybe there's one there who's about to leave, João Felix. They don't have an option to buy him. He's going back to Atletico. He basically doesn't have a relationship with Diego Simeone anymore. Simeone probably has never really got the best out of him. I always thought it was a surprising signing by Simeone from Benfica, but unbelievable potential there. When he made his debut for Chelsea, he got sent off away to Fulham. But before that, I thought he by far was a standout player on the pitch.
What
and again last night, I thought he was very, very good. Yeah, but I mean, I don't think... maybe you don't need him as an out-and-out number 9, but you can still be a goal-scoring forward that plays across the line. Like that goal he scored last night, he has the ability to round players and finish. It's probably just getting the most out of him in confidence sense.
Yeah, I think he's too much of he wants to get involved, he wants to be the link-up player, he wants to have assists. So like when you look at the likes of a Haaland, and I know Haaland is the standard for the striker these days, but Haaland will stay away from the game. Haaland doesn't mind if he doesn't touch the ball. I don't think João Felix would stay away from the game and think, don't worry, my time will come, I'll hit the back of the net. He will want to get on the ball and make things happen, whereas Haaland is just sit on the periphery and think, I'll get me chance, I'll hit the back of the net, and you're guaranteed goals with him. With João Felix, you're probably going to go up around 10 if you're lucky, which doesn't answer the problems. And with the likes of an Aubameyang on the bench as well, I know Aubameyang's gone to Chelsea and it hasn't really happened, but he is a goal scorer, but it's just his personality.
You'd say that about Son too when he signed for Tottenham. They weren't really getting in for the goals necessarily. It was the creative play, and he finished joint top scorer last season. Like, you don't have to be an out and out striker to get the best out of a.
That was an outlier, though. You know, like if you're going to be building a team who is.
But it is an example of how to do it.
Yeah, but it was unsustainable, though. I think, like, if you're going to build a team who is hopefully going to win the league and win the Champions League, then you do need players who are going to flare up. But like, you need a deluge of goals in the side, and
I don't think they have it at their disposal. Maybe, as you say, Lukaku, and they finally convince him that he can do it in the Premier League.
I do think that the Unai Emery thing, where you just give everybody a job, you tell them what they're supposed to do, and you give them a bit of confidence. Like, Ollie Watkins was on the bench for Steven Gerrard and then was absolutely irresistible for 12-15 games. So maybe some of these players are way, 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 way better than they've shown, and you know, like, they actually have the bones of a really good side if someone tells them what to do and knows what they're doing in training week in, week out.
Yeah, look, like we say, with Chelsea, if somebody was to put a structure on them and make them really, really difficult to beat, you would back the attacking talent to shine through and be able to win games for them. But like I said, just being able to keep teams out. You know, Thiago Silva, is he going to be there again next season with him being so old? And look, he on the eye, he's been absolutely fine. He's probably been one of the better defenders, but it's just his age, I think. And can we build around him? Probably not. So they need a world-class centre-half in. They need a couple of decent defenders. Azpilicueta, a decent age as well. So look, even Endo Fernandez, a World Cup winner, not really having the impact. His performances have been okay, but he hasn't had the impact that you'd want him to have. And I think a lot of the signings have just fell on deaf ears at the minute. But
they have so many players. Like, what is it, 30 players in the squad? So round it up to 30 exactly. They need to get rid of about 12. Really, and then add maybe 2 or 3 others instead. So if it's got about 21, 22, you're not going to do that all summer. So maybe their only option here is to convert an existing forward into something that the player isn't actually at the moment. So, like, I'll give you 2 examples of the extreme ends. Michail Antonio was a right-sided player for West Ham, converted into a striker who was effective and scored goals. And on the opposite end of the spectrum, the ultimate example, well, 2, Gareth Bale and Cristiano Ronaldo, who are wide players who became goal scorers. Yeah. Like, is it possible for a coach to come in that short space of time and say, take Mikalenko or Mudryk, or Felix, if they did keep him? Could a world-class coach change a player that quickly to be like, this is exactly what I want for you next season, avoid your instinct and do exactly what I say?
He could, because you could drop the hammer and say, if you don't do what I want, then you won't be in the team, and then you're forcing the players' hands. But like I say, with Mudryk, I think Mudryk is a winger. He likes running at people. I don't think he goes onto the pitch thinking, I want to hit the back of the net like a Haaland does. I think João Felix is the same. He likes being involved in the assist. He likes to build up play. He likes hitting the back of the net, but I don't think it's the be all and end all for these players. And you need somebody who's selfish and thinks, right, no matter what, I can have a bad game, but I'm going to hit the back of the net. And I don't see an obvious answer within the Chelsea squad, and I don't see an obvious answer within Europe, and I don't see any decent strikers wanting to go to Chelsea just because of the European football. So
yeah, the money that Chelsea can pay, obviously, if they can ship out some players. And I did want to ask you about that next. Mason Mount, have you watched enough of Mason Mount to have a strong opinion on him?
Yeah, I think Mason Mount is an excellent little player. I think obviously the contract negotiations, he wants to be on a par with some of the highest earners. I'm not so sure he's earned that right just yet. He's still very, very young. I know he's been an outstanding performer for Chelsea, and he's come through the academy, sort of associating with Chelsea, but I don't know. I'm hearing rumours he might go to Manchester United, he might go to Arsenal. I'd love to see him go to Arsenal.
Would you, honestly? Yeah,
I think if you think Declan Rice and Mount in Arsenal's midfield next season, and I think the squad depth between Manchester City and Arsenal was the big difference. You bring Rice and you bring Mount into that, I think Arsenal and Manchester City come a little bit closer again. And so what type of player in your head is Mason Mount? Because when he's in the England team, he's kind of a joiner-upper. Yeah. What is he? What in a Premier League side that was well run, and the manager's giving him a defined role? What position does he play, and what is that role? Well, you can play. I'd play him off one of the strikers, whether that's in like the number 10 role or playing him wide on the left or wide on the right. I think he's great running onto the ball. I think he's a constant threat in behind. He always looking to penetrate the defences, and I like that from him. You seen was it his goal in he win the penalty in the Champions League when he a big long assist. It's the penetration in behind. But so he's not a midfielder for you. He's not going to dictate the pace of the game or get on the ball. No, for me, I'd be telling them to run into the channels. So many of the bigger teams now play on the halfway line. So if you get Mason Mount, just when I get it, I'm going to get my head up. You run into the channel and play from there. Get people in 1v1 situations. I wouldn't necessarily. He's good enough to drop into the midfield and link plays, but when you get him running onto the ball, I think that's his best attribute.
Because I saw some people talking about him potentially going to Liverpool, but he's not getting in the front three at Liverpool, so he's playing in the middle three for Liverpool.
Yeah, and again, like sometimes, you know, a player like Mason Mount becomes available and people are thinking, oh, Liverpool will just buy him. You're thinking, does he actually fit into that system? Is he actually going to get in there, or are they doing what Chelsea did last season and just buying players for the sake of it? Like Mudryk, when Arsenal was going to when Mudryk was going to Arsenal, you're thinking, okay, maybe, and then it just felt like Chelsea thought, oh, we'll take him, like just to get him.
Could he play deeper than off the strikers, or like could he play as one of those midfield three for Liverpool?
The front three?
No, the middle three.
Middle three.
So Henderson, Fabinho and Mount, is that a possibility?
With Fabinho and Henderson, definitely, because you could put Fabinho and Henderson behind him and Mason to be the point of the three in the middle. So
Trent joining in.
Yeah, so look, he would fit into that Liverpool team. I think it would be good, but like I say, I don't think he's getting into the front three, so then you're juggling him into the midfield three, and he would be the link from the middle to the front. I don't think he'd be tasked with too many defensive
So you
issues.
can play him as an 8 as well as a...
You can play him as an 8, but more of an offensive 8, you know. He would get the licence to go, and you tell other players, listen, just be wary that when Mason does go, we need to cover in behind him. And he definitely, he's bags and bags of ability, and I think there'll be lots of Chelsea fans that don't want to see the back of Mason Mount just because he's such a talented boy.
Okay. Do you want to talk about Manchester United and how well they did qualify for the Champions League? And
very well.
Isn't it amazing?
Well, yeah, you go back to a game and a half into the season as they were 6-1 down in aggregate in the league table, 2-0 defeat at home to Brighton, which subsequently was their only home defeat.
Yeah, and then
season.
They spent $250 million, and look what the money can do.
There. Yeah. 4-0 against Brentford at half time, and we're like, Jesus, there was even a little rumour that Eric Ten Hag was going to walk away by the end of August. This is an absolute mess what I've inherited here. So fair play to him, he's turned it around. I don't think anyone said that they would come third,
him and Casemiro,
in the Champions League places. League Cup win and possibly an FA Cup win around the corner. So it's a good season. I think Sky Sports put it to Bruno Fernandes on the pitch afterwards as it being a decent season, and Bruno said that's exactly what it's been, decent, which I think is fair enough. Some big outlier poor results like those first two games, 7-0 at Anfield, Sevilla in the Europa League, West Ham away there a couple of weeks ago. So some major improvements to be made, but overall you have to say they're making progress.
Oh, you're happy out then?
I don't think you can be unhappy. Just the same with yourself at Aston Villa, same with yourself at Arsenal.
Well, sorry, Aston Villa had a terrible manager and replaced him with a really great manager.
And look at you now. And live in the moment, like this is a good time.
Surge through more points per game than anybody apart from the top two teams in the country.
That's great, and if you can continue that next season for a whole campaign, Villa could be in the Champions League.
It'd be absolutely amazing. Whereas Manchester United expectations are slightly higher, what with them being the record total winning Premier League team of all time, you know.
Yeah, but I mean, I think that's not relevant to modern football. That's been 10 years since they last won the league.
They're settling for mediocrity is what I mean.
No, but they just, I mean, really, United have had 2 successful periods in their whole lifetime under 2 managers, and the rest has been a struggle.
Did you hear Luke Shaw's interview?
No, what did he say?
United need to challenge for the league next season and the Champions League. Need to win the Champions League.
Yeah,
you're in it to win it.
They say the right things, that group of players. They've always been very good at what they say. It's different on the pitch.
Yeah, I don't know. I think don't that's mind, a bit too ambitious.
Shaw's not been bad, I have to say, all season. But I mean, of course he's going to say that. Like they're great at the PR. Like.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he's been a little bit too ambitious. I think if they compete in that and they compete in the Premier League, but this season I think it's been excellent. Maybe 2 trophies. I think they've come on leaps and bounds under Ten Hag, and the main thing with Ten Hag is he seemed to have got a control of that dressing room.
I think so.
He seemed to be a little bit wild before he came in.
So. Yeah, there's still a bit of the old culture there, like the Liverpool game in Anfield. That second half performance was very concerning. But
as a matter of interest, right? So yesterday, and I realise it's paper talk and it's the silly season, but there was an opportunity for him to say Neymar is not for us, and he didn't say it.
Yeah.
Would you not just be like, no, obviously I'm not going to bring like the clown prince of world football. We just got rid of Paul Pogba, took a long time, and now we're going to bring an even bigger circus.
Yeah, well, I totally agree with you. I don't think Neymar would suit Manchester United. I think the play slows down quite a lot with him. He's brilliant for Brazil, but in terms of going to Manchester United, it just doesn't seem like a good fit in the dressing room as a person, looking beyond his football ability.
You're excited?
Funny. No, it's funny. No, because I think like if we were having this conversation in about, I'd say early winter 1992, and we're Leeds United, we'd be like, what are you doing signing Eric Cantona? This guy's a clown.
Yeah, I don't know, there's just something about Neymar. I think he's a luxury player. He comes out, can you see him running after centre halves left,
no,
right and centre? And that's what Ten Hag wants. He wants a pressing game from the front, and then you're going to throw Neymar in. He gets a bit lippy, and
Cantona had an intense physicality about him that like really fitted the muscular requirements.
But I mean, was completely written off as a total troublemaker who ruined the teams he was in despite his talent.
Yeah, but I think Ferguson had at that stage already.
It was Howard Wilkinson got him first.
But Ferguson deciding to sign him like had credit in the bank when it came to dealing with that. I'm not sure that even like Ten Hag just yet has dealt with like getting somebody who's not doing what they're supposed to be doing and then using them in the team. It's the opposite. He's burning players out who aren't doing what they're supposed to be doing.
I don't know. I think Ferguson was under a huge amount of pressure in '92 because he had been at the club 6 years at that point without a league title, and they were like, they're going to sign this maverick.
Well, they'd won a European Cup and his cup by that stage.
Yeah, that's true, the year before, so slightly more than it would have been, and the FA Cup was held against Palace, so a little bit more, but they were still under a bit of pressure because they hadn't won the big thing. Harry Redknapp did it with Paolo Di Canio
at West Ham.
Yeah, when Di Canio was shunted out of Sheffield Wednesday. So there's been examples throughout the years where managers are able to deal with troublemakers with a lot of talent. But I do agree with you that like
it's not
Neymar is a poor choice.
I don't think he's a troublemaker. I think that there's just a circus around it, and also he's not. If you're going to play a high press, is Neymar going to lead the high press for various stages?
Well, maybe he's thinking about signing him without him actually getting involved in the high press. You know, maybe he's thinking, well, he has so much talent that I could get the most out of him.
Already playing with a goalkeeper he doesn't want. And
maybe he has a goalkeeper lined up to replace De Gea. But no, it is interesting that he didn't rule him out, I have to say. I wonder what that's about.
I think that's just Ten Hag being respectful because he is a wonderful player.
He kind of said the same thing about Ronaldo.
I think he could have come out and said, listen, we don't want him. I think he's just trying to be respectful because he is a world class player, but I don't think it's a match at all.
Sometimes you just have to tell the truth, though. Like, I mean, we did. Sorry, I had forgotten about the whole Ronaldo thing. I don't know how I managed to forget about that. It's like, yeah, that'd be great. Let's have another Ronaldo. It's like, oh, we got rid of Pogba. I mean, yeah. He
bit his tongue hard in Ronaldo for the first half of the season.
You put the club's best interest at heart there, don't you?
But burning him out straight away would have been the right thing to do. Like, gone. You, because they had 5 months of that nonsense. You know?
Yeah. I don't think he did so much damage that it.
Well, it slowed them down.
I don't think they were going to achieve anything more than they have done.
It's hard
subsequently. They've recovered in the second half of the season. Well,
he was such a poisonous influence.
He was at the end. It was like, geez, the Piers Morgan stuff is like phenomenal. That was this season.
Yeah,
it has been a long, grueling season. Let's talk about the fixtures this weekend. So we got Reading Chelsea in the WSL on Saturday. We have Luton Town versus Coventry, which is obviously the richest game in football. That's 4:45 on Sky Sports. Everton Bournemouth. We have Leicester West Ham and Leeds United Spurs to talk about this weekend. The WSL, it's fairly straightforward. It's in Chelsea's hands.
Yeah, Chelsea just need to win the game to win the league. It's as straightforward as that. There's not too much thinking to be done, but Chelsea won the last 5 games on the bounce, and Reading they've only won 3 games this season. They've lost 16 games already, so you can't imagine Reading would put up too much of a fight against Chelsea. So very, very straightforward. Go and win the game and you just win the league. Manchester United, you'd expect them to maybe beat Liverpool and get it over the line, but you know, I think they're asking for a mini miracle there for United to be able to turn it around. But Chelsea, some brilliant players with Beth England, 12 goals, Sam Kerr 10 goals. You just can't see Chelsea slipping up.
Yeah, Sam Kerr might be a bit of a nightmare for Ireland coming down the tracks as well, with the news during the week that Mannion's injury. Go on.
No, sorry, go ahead. And I was going to say it would be the most remarkable shock of the season if Reading were to beat Chelsea here, and then United were to beat Liverpool for their first ever bit of silverware, having lost the FA Cup final to Chelsea by the odd goal. But like the job that Emma Hayes has done this season and continues to do for Chelsea over a long period of time, like she could get any job she wants in world football. We actually talked about it on OTB AM this morning with Shabana Hearn, that like where does she go next, and the kind of question is like, does she take, our own Emma Carroll was suggesting Barcelona as a possible destination, but she can kind of do anything she wants, the way like Ronan O'Gara can do it in the rugby world. She's just a phenomenon. And like Chelsea don't necessarily play the most attractive football. Like they have Sam Kerr, who's just a goal machine up front. They have a lot of creators in their team, but like it's not like football that you tune in to watch all the time, but they just have this incredible winning mentality that you could hear Mark Skinner, the Manchester United manager, say after the FA Cup final that it was almost a desperation to get at their level and surpass Emma Hayes and Chelsea, and that could turn into a great rivalry as well. But it would be an unbelievable unbelievable shock of seismic proportions if Reading were to do it against Chelsea this season, and then United beat Liverpool. A lot to look forward to.
That one kicks off at 2:30 tomorrow. The playoff final, as I said, richest game in world football, or one of them anyway. This is a mad throwback between two teams that we did not expect to be here. Luton against Coventry. I've seen almost no championship football this year. I don't know if you've caught much of it, but do you have an expectation of what's going to happen?
I have a sneaky feeling that Coventry will just get it over the line. I can see this going all the way, extra time, penalties, the whole shebang. I think it'd be a nervy, scary encounter. Can you imagine what I've been promoted once to the Premier League from the Championship, but that was an automatic promotion. I never got involved in the playoffs, and my heart is starting to beat a little bit quicker just thinking about it. It really is mental. The week beforehand, all the build up to it. Although these are decent championship clubs, the players would never have got the media side of this. It's absolutely blown out of all proportion. So the richest game in football, whoever holds their nerve the better. But I know we were saying to you off air that Luton have a horrible track record in London. They're not that far from London.
No.
It doesn't matter that much at all. But is that just something in the back of their heads? I think I writ down they've been to Wembley 7 times and they've lost 5, so that's not a great statistic. So
did you play at Wembley?
Never played at Wembley, no, only ever been there for a couple of games. But yeah, I just think Mark Robbins and Coventry, but I think this is excellent. It really is. The championship final between Coventry and Luton 5 years ago, this was a League 2 fixture. This is really romantic stuff, and I honestly, in the nicest way possible, I don't really care who wins it, because both of them are underdogs, and absolutely. But when you look how they knocked out Middlesbrough and Sunderland to get to the final.
Yeah, there's a fear though that maybe they could be single digit points winners next season in the Premier League.
like Derby 07-08, they got 11 points that season, and that was Derby, like an established side. It is brilliant to see, because we had Sean Maguire on the show during the week. Coventry City striker signed there in winter, and at that point in January, Coventry were 15th in the Championship. Like an incredible ascendancy for Luton. They've been thereabouts in the playoffs for the last couple of years, in fairness, like the job Rob Edwards has done. They finished 10 points clear of Coventry, but it often happens in the playoff final that decides who comes sixth or whatever.
This is actually a much better game generally over the last number of years than the FA Cup finals. FA Cup final is totally, it has for me anyway. Maybe this year it's different because Man United can stop Man City doing the treble, and so therefore it's massively important. But this game actually really matters, whereas the cup final, it becomes so diminished. So I prefer this.
That's exactly why I love watching it. You can see when the lads are walking out and they're doing the line-up before kick-off, and you can just see it in their eyes. It means so much to everybody, the fans, the players, the manager, the coaching staff. Everybody is 110% invested in this. The week before, the club can't do enough for you. You feel like an absolute superstar. They don't want you to be upset whatsoever. So every player will give everything, and that's why I love to watch it. I hope we get a free-flowing game. I don't think that'll happen. I just hope both teams don't freeze, but I think there's not an awful lot. I know there was 10-point gaps between them in the league, but I think this will be a really tight game, and it could be decided on penalties. We
were talking, as you said, to Johnny Maguire during the week, and he hasn't got much game time. I think he's played in 7 or 8 games since he signed for them, but he's on the bench. But it's the 117th minute of the game, and the manager looks down, he's used all his subs, he has one left and no strikers, and he's like, come on Johnny, this is your time to shine, buddy. And then it goes to penalties, and he's everybody else is standing back. He's like, well, I've got literally nothing to lose here.
I'll be straight on WhatsApp to him Saturday night if that happens. Get him on again next week. I was thinking the exact same thing as you, Ger. I was like, imagine he comes on and he gets the winner. It's changed forever. You were saying you played at Coventry.
Yeah.
Lovely place.
I always like playing in the Rico Arena, and to be fair, I've played in the Championship. I remember playing against I played there for Blackburn in the FA Cup, and Jordan Henderson played centre midfield for Coventry. That's how many years ago it was. But I remember the pitch being a little bit scatty, not an awful lot of grass on the pitch, probably only a couple of thousand, the ground looking really empty. It was really poor times for Coventry. The club was literally nosediving out of the Championship, and they obviously went a little bit lower, but it's great to see them recover. It really is. I always loved going to the Rico Arena, and they just seem to be a little bit more on a stable footing. If they were into the Premier League, you couldn't begrudge them.
Did Henderson stand out?
He did for his age. I think he was probably high teens at that age. I was maybe 20, 21, so he stood out probably not in the game, but when you look at his age and what he was doing in the game, yeah, he was decent. But when you look at what he did for Coventry, and then you're thinking, if you'd have told me he's going to go and play for England in World Cups and be Liverpool's captain, I'd have probably laughed at you. But you know, that's why I'm not a scout.
The games on Sunday are all obviously about one thing at this stage: Everton, Bournemouth, Leicester, West Ham, and Leeds United, Spurs. Everton, Bournemouth's on Sky Sports main event. Leicester, West Ham is on Sky Sports Premier League. Leeds versus Spurs is on BT Sport 1. And the question that remains to be answered is, who is going down? Can anybody get out of the relegation zone at this stage? So Leeds and Leicester, obviously, they're on 31 points, and Everton are the only ones left who can get sucked back into it. Will Everton get sucked back into it?
No, I think Everton will do enough. I think they beat Bournemouth, which obviously is all they need to do. But the Leeds and Spurs, it's a really interesting game, because Spurs they've been absolutely awful since Conte. I think it's 9 games since Conte's gone out the door. They've only picked up 8 points. It's just been so flaky. And you look at the teams that they've lost to in that time. They've lost to Brentford, Villa, Bournemouth, and then obviously the 6-1 thrashing to Newcastle. So it's been up and down, up and down. When you think about Spurs, you think it's okay, they have Harry Kane. You're looking forward to next season and think, if they don't have Harry Kane, you know, I'm thinking they probably need 5 or 6 bodies in the building already, like decent world-class players. You bring Harry Kane out of that team, my God, they don't look good at all. Even that's if Son, Kulusevski and all them stay. I just don't see where Spurs go from here. And as soon as Conte left, I thought there's only one way to go, and it's down from here. So I just don't know where to go. I can see Leeds beating them tomorrow, but like I say, I think Everton will get the job done. Did
you see Jose Mourinho during the week talking about how every single club that he's ever been at, he still has very strong feelings for, with the exception of Spurs, because Mr. Levy didn't let me win the trophy? And it's like, you kind of forgot about that, but then you remember back, he actually sacked him the week of a cup final, which they then subsequently lost and replaced him with Ryan Mason. When they sacked Antonio Conte, and granted it would have been hard not to sack him because of what he was saying, but when they sacked him, they were still in the running for the Champions League place. It's like, I mean, what are you doing? To do it once is unfortunate. To do it twice begins to look like carelessness. Like, what are you doing?
I think he was dying to get sacked though, wasn't he?
Well, at the same time, make him earn the money for the rest of the season. You're going to have to pay him anyway, and he's better than Ryan Mason and the other guy that I've even forgotten his name in between.
But they were 4th in the league.
I'll get it. Go ahead.
We've all forgotten.
I don't even want to Google it. I'll get it.
They were 4th in the league. I know. And every time I spoke to a Spurs fan, they were saying, our style of play is horrible, it's very boring. If you go toe to toe with footballing teams as a Spurs players, you'll get beat by the majority. You need to make it horrible. That's the only way you get to the 4th in the league. So Conte was doing what he had to do with that group of players, and I know it wasn't pretty on the eye, but sometimes the grass is not always greener. Ryan Mason's tried to play football and they're flying down the league as quick as they can. So all of a sudden, from Champions League football, they're into 7th place. And I've totally forgot about the Mourinho sacking as well. It's just bizarre, isn't it?
We're very bitter about it.
You nearly forgot about it at the time, because that was the Monday morning. The morning after the Super League announcement. So it got kind of buried. It was like, then Spurs have sacked Mourinho, because it looked like football was going to fall apart as we knew it when the Sunday night news broke out of the European Super League. That was 6 days before the League Cup final. Now, in fairness, he did say in the press conference as well, Mourinho, that it was like a large reason that he has no love for Tottenham, really, is because most of the games were played in empty stadiums during COVID. But he definitely aimed the dig at Daniel Levy, being like, I want to make sure I get out of this comment. Now, Tottenham are only a point behind Aston Villa. So if results go their way, they win. Villa don't. They go past them, they finish 7th. Would that have any difference in a player wanting to sign for Spurs in the Conference League versus no European football, realistically?
Probably not. I think with the market that Spurs are going to be shopping in, if they finish 6th or 7th, it's probably in and around the same player. But they're obviously out of Champions League football. The top end of the players are not going to want to play there. But the one thing that you have going for them, that if Kane does leave, it'll free up a few bob, and whoever's coming in will think, I'm going to play because Harry Kane is gone. Now, whether that fella hits the ground running and starts scoring goals, that obviously remains to be seen. But I think it's a big summer for Spurs. Obviously the players they bring in have to hit the ground running, but I just don't like how flaky they are, the decisions that are being made in the background. And let's not forget, I keep coming back to it, everything Conte said in his interview was right. I know he shouldn't have said it, but I have a feeling that was been said in the dressing room time after time to the players, and he wasn't getting a reaction, so he thought, there's only one thing I can do here, I'm going to throw them under the bus in the media.
And here's the thing, like, it has been so bad that it couldn't have been as bad if they'd kept him. Like, and that's not post fact. That's like, oh, he can't stay, he has to stay, because if you've got a replacement, fair enough. If the new manager was coming in and they'd done a deal with whoever is actually going to end up being the manager, but like, everybody keeps ruling themselves out for various reasons.
You look at the swing of whatever they had to pay to get Conte when he gets sacked, his money to leave, not making the Champions League, whatever that would be worth as well. So the turnover of money all of a sudden there because of the decision making off the pitch is ridiculous. And I know people are saying they had to sack Conte. I don't think they did. I'm like you. I'd have kept him there and said, listen, if you want to leave, you can go at the end of the season, but go and get us Champions League football first.
His reputation is the thing that was going to inspire him to keep working, because he's got a giant ego. All these managers have giant egos, and he doesn't want it.
Ego. It is a game of egos. There's no way Levy would have allowed himself being spoken to indirectly like that in a press conference. There's just none. He would have been like, you can't say that, I have to sack you.
Yeah, it's cost him 100 million.
And I guarantee he's happy to pay the 100 million.
I don't think they were going to qualify for the Champions League anyway, but at the same time, I think they might have finished 5th or 6th, and therefore there would be Europa League, and that is a significant
totally different class of player coming in the summer then.
Yeah. So, look, you reap what you sow. Everton are going to beat Bournemouth, are they?
Well, see, the thing is, Dominic Calvert-Lewin is missing. They don't really have a goal scoring forward at all.
Dominic Calvert-Lewin doesn't really exist anymore, though.
Oh no, he's actually been a part of the recent resurgence. So the 5-1 at Brighton that they won, that out of nowhere, like Dwight McNeil did well, Decore did very well, but it was Calvert-Lewin up front that was making a difference. They haven't won at home since the 11th of March, and now they're without their only fella who's a consistent goal scoring threat, and even at that, that's a generous title for Calvert-Lewin. So Bournemouth, right, have absolutely nothing to play for, i.e. nothing to lose. It'll probably be lovely weather, it always is in the last day of the season. They'll do what they want, loads of touches on the ball. It's like when you play 2 touch of training and the coaches go all in for the last 5 minutes. That'll be the whole game for them. Eddie Howe, your old friend, his last game at Bournemouth was away at Everton and they won 1-0. Is there any chance Bournemouth are winning this game and Everton go down?
There is a chance, because like you say, I've wrote Bournemouth off in around Christmas time. I thought these are done, they have nothing left, and they've just surprised me, kept digging out performance after performance, and they're a talented bunch of lads, and I keep saying, I don't think if they were to go down, many clubs would want the players that they have. So the job that Gary O'Neill is doing is excellent, and they could turn up with the shackles off and just absolutely bop everything, but knowing Sean Dyche like I do, if them Bournemouth players turn up and they're a little bit flaky and not 100% invested on it, they're already safe. I think Everton's intensity, Goodison will be bouncing, the fans will be out, the game kicks off at 4:30, the fans will be outside Goodison from 12 o'clock, the atmosphere will be bouncing, they will demand the performance. So I don't think Bournemouth will get any chance, any time on the ball whatsoever. There'll be tackles flying in, and I'm hoping that Bournemouth just shy away from it rather than leaning into it, and if they do, Everton only need the 1 goal. Bournemouth, the last 3 games, they've only scored 1 goal, so I just feel like maybe Bournemouth are just winding down and they're happy with what they've got, which they should be. It's been an outstanding season for them. I get them no hope. I thought they'd be relegated at the start of the season. So
incredible job.
Yeah, absolutely. Gary O'Neill, I know people like the manager of the season, people have asked me before, people will obviously go to Pep, but I think the likes of Gary O'Neill, Unai Emery, Thomas Frank, these boys with what they have at their disposal, I think they're the manager of the season. Arguably Pep is doing what he's supposed to do with that group of boys.
Pep is doing what he's supposed to be doing. I think that they should look beyond the obvious when it comes to manager of the year.
Yeah, remember Scott Parker when Bournemouth were beaten by 9 at Anfield?
9-0, yeah.
And he came out afterwards and said these players are nowhere near good enough.
Yeah.
And Gary O'Neill steps in. Who do you want to stay up? Not who do you think will. Who do you actually want to see in the Premier League next season out of those 3?
I'd like to see Everton stay up just because of Sean Dyche. I have a fondness for the man. I think he's come in and he's done quite well. I think with that Everton bunch, goals is obviously a big problem. I think we can all say there's been an improvement since Lampard's gone out, and that's not me being horrible. I think Dyche has just made them a little bit stronger, gave them a little bit of pride, and now the minimum is maximum effort. That's what they get every single game, and the fans by and large will accept that because they're not that talented. But if they get 1 or 2 players in, stay up this season, I think Sean Dyche can build on that. And even if they do go down and lose the game, you've seen the way Sean Dyche's 10 years at Burnley, like they own the training ground, they own Turf Moor. He absolutely revolutionised that club on and off the pitch. So I'm sure if Everton give him enough time, if they do go down, he will do that for Everton as well. And it's a very, very shrewd signing because, like I say, if Everton go down, no better man to bring them back up than Dyche. But I do expect them to win the game and do enough.
I think he'll keep the job as well if they stay up. I think that that's not one of those just exam situation. So Leicester gone, Leeds gone. That's what we're saying, almost irrespective of what they do in their games.
Well, no, no, not necessarily. I wouldn't completely rule them out. I think Leeds are gone. I think Leeds are done. I think Leicester have a very slight, that 1 point they got against Newcastle when they played a back five and they dropped Maddison and Barnes, which was a big call.
Though, right?
No, that can be a draw, I think. And then Everton Bournemouth can be a draw if Leicester win. Because Leicester have scored the most goals out of the bottom 10.
Leicester have the best
and they've scored 12 more goals than Chelsea.
Fair point. Sorry, I was looking at the Leeds goal difference. Yeah,
they've only scored they scored the same amount of goals as Aston Villa, who are 7th, and only I think about 7 goals worse off than United. So their goal scoring has never been a problem for them all season. Leicester is at the back, so they played that back five against Newcastle, got a point.
You would also say United and Villa need to score way more than there.
Oh yeah, anyway, more. But you know, they don't think that a side should get relegated with that goal scoring form. Will the league miss Leicester and Leeds?
Nah, sure, they'll be back up pretty quickly. For clarity, Leicester City are on -18 and Everton are on -24. So you are correct. If Everton draw and Leicester win, Leicester are safe. So it ain't done.
Like the league would miss Everton more than Leicester, wouldn't they?
Well, I mean, the last couple of seasons, Leicester have won a cup, won a league, played some amazing football.
Decline,
Brought us Rebecca Vardy, you know.
Well, she can still do her business down there, but Blackburn went down. Was it 4 years after they won the league? So this is 7. So
okay,
the FA Cup as well. It'd be a surprise.
Who's your player of the year? Does it just have to be Haaland?
It's very easy to hide behind the stats, isn't it, and justify Haaland, but there's been some outstanding. I like Odegaard. Obviously I'm an Arsenal fan, so I think Odegaard's been excellent in terms of defensive stuff, attacking stuff. Haaland, attacking wise, outstanding, head and shoulders above everybody, but the likes of an Odegaard, I think, absolutely excellent. 24, still cutting his teeth in the Premier League. Brilliant.
Jack Grealish for me, but go on.
Really, Grealish?
I love this. He's a great season.
He was good,
Yeah. I'd love to see his pass map. How many passes he's backwards.
Yeah. He gets the ball on the left.
Create a little bit of space.
Takes 2 touches, cuts in,
set it up,
passes.
you set it up, kill.
But he does no killing.
Playing a good team. It's really Gundogan in the, if we were just taking the last 6 weeks, I mean, that was an amazing end to the season.
Yeah.
What about Granit Xhaka's redemption? I mean, remember when he was telling the fans to F off when he was getting taken off years ago?
The football kick-off with Sky. All the football you love in one place across Sky Sports, BT Sport and Premier Sports. This is the last one of the season. My thanks to everybody for being part of it. My thanks to the 2 lads for joining us today. To Treacy and Colm Boohig. We will obviously see you at the start of next season with an entirely new, different show coming your direction. In the meantime, stay tuned.
The football kick-off
with Sky. Watch every single live Premier League game on Sky Sports, BT Sport and Premier Sports.